It was an amazing experience. What a dream. Something I love about New York, it's be loud and then be louder. Shooting in New York is not easy. Someone's laughing, someone's crying, someone's getting divorced, someone's having sex, someone's dying. All of a sudden, your perspective of the world, you're like, oh, I'm an ant. Your options are endless. Yeah. Feel the fear and do it anyway.
Whoa.
Welcome back to another episode of First Rounds on Me, a First Rounds on Media production. Today, we're joined by someone who refuses to be defined by just one title. You might recognize her from your screen, whether it's Disney's Andi Mack, a role on Neighbours, or a scene-stealing moment in The Nice Guys and I Feel Pretty. But to call her an actress or a model would be selling her short. She's a storyteller, a connector, and someone who's carved a path across continents, building not just a career, but connection along the way. In this conversation, we're talking about what it means to leave home and live between two worlds, the family you build when you're far away and why community matters more than ever. And beneath it all, we're pulling at the threads of identity, belonging, and connection, how it shifts when you move countries, how it shapes your art, and how it shows up in the people you choose to hold close. Chloe Hurst, welcome to the show.
What an intro.
Thank you.
That was probably your best intro.
That was a really good one.
Yeah, that was your best intro.
You know why? Because you're Australian.
Honestly, but like, I don't think I could explain my life better than that. That's kind of
Well,
amazing.
it's this running joke on the podcast that like I do an insane amount of research and then Joe does absolutely none. And so the intros are, it really works out as a balance.
I think that was the first intro I actually listened to because I just, all right, the intro's going and then I'll
just
prepare.
glaze it over.
You are Neighbours?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But I did it backwards. So like most people do Neighbours first and then come to the US. I went to the US and had like a career out here and then I went back and then I was like, what do you mean I can be on Neighbours before it ends? Hell yeah. So yeah, I did a little fun role on Neighbours.
And there's a big, like in an Australian household, you're either a Neighbours household or you're a home and away household. Or you can be a neither household,
what were
but
you
like
guys?
Neighbours.
That's really funny. I was home and away. I mean,
What's
my
the
parents
difference?
still religiously watch Home and Away, so I'm sorry if that's going to embarrass them on this, but yeah.
What's the difference?
I mean, is there? It's more, it's like it's Australian soap operas.
So it's like Seinfeld versus Friends? You're either like a Friends or a Seinfeld person?
Well, I'm both. Seinfeld and Friends, so I don't know. If that,
you're not both.
I
You
love
were
Friends.
Friends, now you're Seinfeld.
I absolutely disagree.
Anyway.
Fundamentally disagree with that statement. Thank you so much. We were having a chat the other day.
We were.
And in my head, I'm going, this would be such a good fucking podcast because I think that I somewhat talk about it on the podcast, but I've been here for 15 years, 16 years. But the idea of being an expat, right? And I kind of want to get into like your career as we go through this journey, but like the idea of living in a different country for a prolonged period of time is so fascinating to me. A, because I've lived it, but talking to other people about it, I think it's so interesting, particularly in the sense of like the community that you build around you, right? Like we're so far away from home.
Yeah.
You almost have to build your own home up and around you. So before we get into that, I ask everybody this one question before we get into the podcast. And if you could make every person that you meet answer one question truthfully, what would it be? Really stumps people.
Oh, if I could ask one question to everyone that I meet.
If every person, like, yeah. What is it? If you could make everyone you meet answer one question truthfully.
I think it would be, what is love?
Whoa. That was not the direction I thought you were going in.
No?
That's great.
Yeah, I think maybe because I'm just on a pursuit of trying to figure that out in many different directions. So maybe that's just the question I would ask because I think it comes in so many different forms.
Well, what's your answer?
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to stump me.
No, that was just so deep. Now I'm really curious.
Yeah.
What is love? Look, I think it can be different for everyone, but I think, I don't know if it's as tangible as I once thought. Maybe that's where as I'm getting older, I'm discovering that it's more of feeling. And I think the only thing I could probably parallel it with is curiosity. Like I think if you're curious about something, then that's like a version of love that you sort of pursue.
I love that.
Whether that's a person, place or thing or passion or whatever it may be. But I think love comes in so many different forms. So I think it's, a version of curiosity.
What do you love
Perhaps.
right now?
Oh, what do I love? This podcast.
That's a great answer. Wait, Joe, what's your definition of love?
Yeah, I mean, that's deep. It used to be like thinking with a partner of someone that you want to be around, makes you better, like all the stupid traditional things. But now that I actually love somebody for so long, it's changed. And I think
This is where we insert the
it's like think it's kind of fully being on a long-term path and a long-term vision with someone who's aligned with you, because like it shifts, right? The feeling shifts, the emotions shift. But if you and somebody or something are on this long-term path and you're going to do everything you can to stay on that path, that to me is love, because life throws curveballs at you and there's so many different directions life could throw at you. But if your center lane is like, I want to stay on this center lane with this thing or this person, that's love to me, because, you know, we're in life together, and it's not like, you know, sexy anymore. It's not, I mean, it still is.
I was going to say rude.
But it's not, you know, the lust that you first meet with somebody, and it's
You're
not
very sexy.
Thank you.
It's just like you choose to be on this path every day with that person or that thing.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
My answer would be trust. I think trust equals love. I think that you cannot have love without trust, like true love. And I think that it can either be built up over time, it can erode very slowly over time. So just ensuring the fact that that like trust level is there, then there's ipso facto love.
What's one thing that you love about New York that Australia doesn't have, and one thing that you love about Australia that New York doesn't have?
Ooh.
So I think the biggest, perhaps the best way to answer that question is by the biggest difference that I've noticed recently. In Australia, we have tall poppy syndrome, right? Which I think is very apparent in the way that we approach our day to day. So I'm going to butcher this explanation, but like tall poppy syndrome, in my opinion, is sort of like poppies all grow as a pack at the same rate, the same height. If anyone was, or if any one of them was to try to like stick out, it's like you sort of force them back down, or you sort of not necessarily poison it to like, you know, stunt the growth, but that's sort of the idea behind tall poppy syndrome is, you know, don't gloat or be like too maybe excited about something. It's sort of like just stay
That's
level.
not the status quo, yeah.
Exactly. And so I think something I love about New York, it's like be loud and then be louder.
We're the opposite. I was going to, while
Yeah.
you're saying that, I'm like, New Yorkers in particular, Americans, we're the opposite. We're like, we're the loudest, we're the coolest,
Exactly.
we're the funnest.
And I think there's something about thriving in the chaos of New York that makes you also step into being the loudest version of yourself. And I don't mean obviously like, yeah, I mean you have to be loud in New York and hail cabs and do crazy things like that. But I think it's more about stepping into the fearful side of yourself that would otherwise in a different, safer city, you know, be the more comfortable approach to your day to day. So like the very thing I love about New York is, funnily enough, the antithesis of also why I love home is there's sort of this familiarity, nostalgia, comfort, sense of safety almost. But that's probably just because that's where family are. I think wherever they would be is probably where I'd feel that same sentiment.
I think it's great to have that home. Like, you know, I'm from Staten Island, and I'm not like, oh, Staten Island's so cool. I actually, you know, don't promote that. But I love the fact that my family's there and I grew up there, and like I could show my wife all of those things.
Yeah.
It's funny. Last night Hannah was on the phone with her mom, and her mom was like, you should move to Toowoomba. And I never like really laugh out loud, but I laughed out loud so hard because Hannah was like, I live in New York City. You want me to move
To Toowoomba?
To
Toowoomba?
Like what?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing though, is like I'm from Perth, and like I used to shit on Perth. I used to be like, why would you ever live like on the edge of the universe? Like it's so far from everything else. Now I go home and I'm like, why would I live anywhere else? Then I come to New York and I'm like, why would I live anywhere else? I'm like, it's weird how the grass is sort of always greener, except it's not. And like you can love multiple things about multiple places. And I suppose that's why for me, like home has always been everywhere and nowhere.
I was about to say, like, what is your, I think as an expat, it's really hard to define home. Like we have the traditional sense of like when we go back home to Australia, there is that sense and that feeling of like safety and comfort and nostalgia, and it's also beautiful. And you get different things from different places. But now, like how long have you lived out of Australia for?
So I moved out of Perth when I was 17. And then I haven't really, I've been back for different bursts of time for work, but really I've been in the US since I was 20.
Yeah, wow.
So it's been, I mean, I basically left thinking I would be gone for a semester and I would be back 6 months later. And then, yeah, I think my parents are starting to come around to the idea that I actually like don't live at home, you know?
Our stories are so parallel in that regard because I left when I was 17. I moved to Europe.
Yep.
And then I lived all over Asia and then I came to America.
Yeah.
And then have been living in America for like 13, 14 years, which is just like wild to say. But that sense of like, my parents too. My mum's like, okay, so I guess you're not coming home. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't know yet. I'm not sure. Like,
Also, although like we always do go home.
always.
Like-
There's still this sense of like, I mean, you met our child, Leo.
Yeah.
Like I sit there and think to myself, I'm like, eventually I do want to go back to Australia. Eventually, like when I'm raising children and I'm doing these types of things, like I loved growing up in Australia. I loved not only the superficial factors of like an Australian accent and just like all of that, but just the way in which we grew up was so beautiful, I think. But the definition of home shifts and changes for me. What does it mean to you?
I mean, you said it to begin with, but I think for me, the definition of home is community. And I'm blessed and cursed with community in all of my homes. Granted, I've built that and made a huge effort to build that and continue to build on that too. But it's also, I live in this state of FOMO because if I'm in one place, I miss the friends and family in another place. Or then if I'm in that place, I miss, the friends and family in my other place. And it's just I've sort of now become okay with the fact that my community is global. And not many people have that opportunity, right? So that in and of itself is like a major luxury and privilege.
Do you ever feel resentful?
Of the life I've chosen?
Yeah.
Or
I used to feel like I used to have these moments where I'd feel really, even though I chose it, really angry at the fact that that FOMO, the sense of FOMO, I always felt like I was missing out. I always felt like no matter where I was, and then no matter where I was missing the other place. And so I just felt like I could never be fully present. It's only in the last couple of years where I've just gone, all right, dummy, you've made this decision, like, get your shit together.
I think in a weird way, like, I live in this romantic version where I keep living in these places. So like, even if I'm not physically there, like I spend so much time on FaceTime to all the people around the world. But it's, and luckily like we're at a time where the world does feel smaller like that. But I'm not necessarily resentful. I think I feel constantly torn between the lives that I want and the life that I haven't even discovered yet, right? So it's sort of this like, it's like you live in the in-between of it all. But then like, again, that's exciting to me. I think for a long time I was figuring out how that would work and like, just pick one, Chloe, like pick a home and stay there for a while and see what happens. But none of them have ever sort of, I suppose, put me under a spell enough to stay. And now I've got multiple homes and multiple places I call home, not multiple homes. I'm an actor, remember? So
But you're getting there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is that sense of like, it is a privilege to be able to call so many different places home. And I think it really speaks to the fact that there are specific people in this world, no matter where you come from originally, people may call it greedy, but I don't think it is. I think it's just more so you have this lust for life and this curiosity, right? That can never be satiated.
Yep.
And there's always that thing of like, not the grass is greener or what if, it's just more so like there's so much more of life to experience. And why would I confine myself to one place, even though Perth, Australia is beautiful, Brisbane's gorgeous, I love it. Would that in turn fulfill me on a day-to-day basis? No, probably not. Like it's a double-edged sword.
And we always talk about perspective. So like when Hannah and I lived in LA, I don't want to come off the wrong way. I would hike Runyon Canyon.
Yep.
Okay.
I would have passed you many
for the
times.
Pictures, but I would hike that, and I would look at the Hollywood sign, and I would just think, yeah, in my day-to-day life, I want more, and I want this, and I want that. But people save up their whole life to take one trip to come to Hollywood, and I live here. And then I come to New York, and I have a family here, and I live by the World Trade Center. And families save up their whole life to come there. And then my wife lives in Australia, and families save up their whole life to go there. And I travel freely in between these three places. I'm like, yeah, I could always want more, but I literally have this amazing life where the three places that I travel around, people go to once in their life. And it's like,
and
makes you
perspective,
think, right?
Yeah, perspective's amazing. I find with that, my parents, granted everyone's parenting style is different, but I think my parents, I'm so grateful that they made me realize how accessible the world can be if you choose it to be. Because I think that's an active choice. Obviously, yes, it takes a great deal of money to be able to travel between worlds. I totally appreciate that. But, it's not for lack of wanting or work as well. Like I I work in every place I live. And I've luckily, and I think this is a privilege as well, I don't have anything holding me down in any of these places. One could argue the reason I don't necessarily have a romantic partner in my life, or haven't for the last decade, no disrespect to the people who are probably watching this, but I think part of that is also because I've had a love affair with the world, and to me, like that, my approach to the world, I'm grateful for, and my parents raised me to see that, like, we moved from the UK to Australia when I was younger. So even that move taught me that it's possible. And I think sometimes we do think smaller than we need to. But again, in and of it, that's a very privileged statement to be making.
It is a privileged state, but I think it's like Joe and I talk about this all the time with Leo of, obviously I'm from a different country. He's married a foreigner. Like there's already that distinction of the fact that he will be traveling between Australia and America. But to install in him in a very young age that privilege of traveling the world opens his eyes, but it opens his tolerance. It opens his perspective on life, of the fact that like one way is not the right way. There are so many different ways in which to live life. None is right or wrong. It's just about what's right for you. And I love the idea, you're very right, coming from an incredibly privileged position to be able to give your children that. I think it's just like such a beautiful thing.
But it takes that kind of perspective where, again, it's your approach to it. So whether it's your approach to your job or your travel or your, friendships or whatever it may be, it's, living a restrictive lifestyle or restricted lifestyle is only, in my opinion, going to be doing you a disservice. So the more that you can keep sort of this open mind, but also not hold things so tightly all the time, I think you immediately then you're living more expansive, even if you're staying physically in the same place.
Yeah, and you touched on the word earlier, curious. I think if you're curious about your friends, if you're curious about the world, if you're curious about anything, you're going to try and learn more about it and be better. And I think a lot of the world is not curious. A lot of the world sticks in their little bubble of what they know and what's comfortable. And if more people were curious, to Hannah's point, like Leo's going to be forced into being curious into two different worlds. I think people need to be more curious.
I think it's just more so like just what you're raised with as well, though. I think that like there are some people in this earth, and we talked about this in the last podcast, of some people is really, really content living within their own lane. Like I know people who are so, like my brother. My brother is an incredibly intelligent human being. He is so fucking happy to be living in Brisbane for the rest of his life. He travels, he does all these type of things, but he loves that safety net. He loves that bubble, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with it to him. And I think it's really gorgeous that people have that.
I envy it.
You want. Yeah,
I envy it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's where I was like, maybe the word resentment wasn't right. Maybe it was envy, or like something was going on. But there was this part of me that used to be like, fuck, I wish I could be like that. I wish I was just happy and content.
It's like you catch a bug. Like in my opinion, it's like you've caught the bug. You've caught the bug of, and sure, it's like maybe some people could look at that as like greed or abundance, or like these sort of somewhat negative connotations with like wanting more. But I think, to be honest, I think that curiosity, it's like if that's driving you and that's a huge factor behind your day-to-day life, then you're always just going to be kind of open to discovery, right? And to me, like if that's your driving force, then like your options are endless. Yeah. It's just how like hard you're willing to work
to be able to fulfill that.
Yeah, we talked about this on one of our podcasts where it's like, again, I don't know anything about science or that world, but people say humans just want to be happy, and it's like, no, like a dog wants to be happy. That's no different than a human. I think humans are so ambitious that we get into that part of our brain where like we want more. We want to maximize our potential, and we go crazy, like being an actor, being an entrepreneur, where other species and animals don't have that part of their brain with ambition. It's just survive and be happy.
But
survive
also,
and be happy.
Like you said, just because people are maybe different to others, it doesn't make either way of life right or wrong.
No.
Right?
I think it's just really fascinating, and like the way in which you described it of like catching a bug, it truly is that. Like I remember the first time I left and I was terrified. I was fucking scared to leave Australia and like move to Paris, and I was like living in Paris, and I was like, what do you mean? Like this is overwhelming. And then I came back and I was like, oh, this feels really strange to just be sitting at home. Like, oh, I want to go out and explore Berlin, and I want to go to Asia. And like, it was so interesting, this fire that it lit in me, and like I'm the only person of my immediate family that's ever done something like this.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I've also had plenty of reasons to turn around, you know, like I will say like there are times where you're like, I would love to go home and be closer to, you know, people that need me as well. I think for a long time I've felt like I was living quite a selfish life.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm innately selfish. So for me, it's like that's the torn feeling where I do always want to sort of be 1 foot in and 1 foot out of all my decisions.
Yeah, I was about to say like there's a sense of, I think every expat, particularly with like really strong family ties, where you feel the sense of guilt.
Big time.
And it eats at you.
Yeah.
And it can get heavier at times. Like I remember there was a couple of Christmases that I didn't go home, and just like seeing my entire family together and like my mum going, oh, I really wish you were here. Like it pulls at your heartstrings in such a specific way. But in the flip side, and this is something that I always find really interesting, they say that you can't choose your family, right? We're born into our own family. But kind of as expats, where we have these multiple homes, we do choose our family. What do you think the importance, or how close do you hold the importance of building your friends as family around you?
Look, I think for me, like I was asked a question years and years and years ago, and it was define success. And for me, it stuck because I like went home and thought, you know, immediately it was financial, and it never sat well with me because I was like, oh, you know, I just don't think that's right for me. And now I define success by the people who are to my left and right. So for me, if, you know, they hold great values, they're in pursuit of something great that makes them happy, then for me in turn, that makes me happy. So like my version of my own success is to look around me and just be like thoroughly grateful for the people that I have in my life. And you're right, like that takes work and effort and persistence. It also takes boundaries and, you know, these words that we're now sort of becoming familiar with. Maybe it's an age thing, maybe it's a social media thing, but it's like, you know, that pool of people gets smaller and smaller. Yes. But for me, it doesn't mean necessarily that they're not globally spread all around the world. And yet I know that I'm successful because I look at the people in my life and go, damn, I'm so damn lucky.
Oh, what a beautiful
What advice would you give people who are trying to build a community in New York? For anybody, not just expats, but like I'm from New York and moving into the city, it's hard when you're in your 30s.
I think making friends as an adult is one of the hardest possible tasks.
Because you're more stubborn. You're like, this is what I like, and I kind of don't need friends, but I want friends. And if you're irking me in a certain way, like
yeah, but it goes back to like what you're saying in terms of like the boundaries that you have, right? Like as you get older, you really define, not to use like the adage of like an old dog new tricks type of situation, but like you really define like what you find acceptable in your life, and like the type of energy and the type of people that you want to surround yourself with, the type of family that you want to surround yourself with. So I think that's why it gets how we talked about this at one point, where like when you're in your early 20s or even your late teens, you're just like, I haven't figured myself out. So like I could have all of these people around me and I can like little tiny parts of them that can fulfill something, right? As you get older, I feel like those gaps or those holes, not that you're trying to fill, but that friendships and family really does kind of like gravitate.
I think
towards.
the holes are more impactful.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I'm saying.
In your 20s, like you said, you have all these little holes and you fill them up. And then as you get into your 30s, if you still have a hole, it's probably bigger because no one from 20 to 30 filled it for you. And it's like, okay, 90% of my friendships and relationships are great, but there's this one missing friend that I just want to get deep with. Where is he and who is he?
Can I say, in terms of the advice that I would give someone finding a friend as an adult, not even just in New York, but around the world, is sort of, it translates into life in general, but feel the fear and do it anyway. So like putting yourself out there is not an easy thing to do.
No, it's not.
You know, Lord knows as actors we go on thousands of auditions and get rejected for a living. You know, it's the same thing with dating. It's the same thing with friendships. It's like you have to put yourself out there on the line per se, because it's, you know, if you're not doing that, then you've got no result out of it. Whereas the possibility of maybe this could be, why not? You know, all these sort of, it really does open the possibility. And so I would just say like, feel the fear and do it anyway.
Nice.
You see someone that you think, you might get along well with and you say hi.
Say good
you
day,
know,
yeah.
I mean, that's how this happened, right?
That's exactly
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Going back to rejection and being an actress, how did you get into that? What was your first job? And like, what made you want to be an actress?
Wow. I'm not sure I still do. Is the truth.
Hey, as an entrepreneur, I
oh my
think that every day.
goodness.
I'm like, do I still fucking want to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
This is hard.
It's, you know what? I think it's going to sound so cliche and I'm probably going to regret saying this, but I don't think you choose it. I think it chooses you. You know, I mean, I've read so many things about being the younger child and, you know, fighting for attention and things like that as a kid. To be honest, I grew up in such a wonderful environment. I'm so close to my sister. I never actively pursued acting, trying to make a show out of myself. I think I just loved it. You know, I started dancing when I was, 3, I think, and then just followed suit with singing and acting and did musicals growing up. And, you know, I think there's a hunger that just sort of happened by accident where, you know, back in the day when there was still newspapers and you'd find the auditions, you know, looking through the section of the newspaper. That's revealing my age.
Well, I think Hannah's first job, she entered a local beauty pageant at the mall, right?
Yeah, there you go. I trust me, I hear you. So like I would circle, like, you know, Les Miserables was auditioning for kids under a certain age. And you know, my parents luckily never said really no. And if it was something that I wanted to do, they were happy to support it, providing I got my homework done.
Damn straight. Good Australian parents,
yeah.
always.
But, you know, I think it was almost as if like that hunger was innate. Like I don't actually think I just woke up one day and was like, I'm going to be a star. No. I wish.
What was your first role?
What was my first role? I mean, this is a funny one that I definitely remember playing. At my school, we would do musicals each year. And one year we did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Classic.
And I auditioned to be all the lead roles because that's what I wanted to be, all of them. And they gave me Grandpa George. I went to an all-girls school. Go with me here.
Stop it.
I got the role of Grandpa George, and he's not the one that gets to go to the chocolate factory.
No, I know.
He's the
one
one
that's bedridden.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
And so I literally spent the entire musical in bed knitting. And so I don't know how booking that role made me think that I could move to New York and be an actor and have like a career in it. And maybe that's why we're still here.
That's
you
awesome.
know.
You're like, what do you mean? I just get to lay in bed all day? Sweet.
You know
Amazing.
what? I learned how to knit. I didn't retain that information whatsoever because I definitely can't knit now. But it was just one of those moments where, like, again, like of all the reasons, you're given a platter of reasons to not do the thing, but yet you still choose to do the thing.
And if that isn't an indication of the fact that going back to what you said at the beginning, it's like almost like it chooses you. You don't choose it. Like if it were easy, then everybody would be doing it.
Yep.
And there are so many highs and lows, just like with being an entrepreneur. But there's something about it that you cannot turn away
I'm going to stick to that term that you said. We have the bug. We have the bug. But you posted something with Amy Schumer. Yeah. What was that? What movie was that?
So that was a film called I Feel Pretty in New York. I actually was visiting New York for like a couple of weeks. I was living in LA. I was on Andi Mack at the time. And I flew to New York for a couple of weeks, probably for my best friend's birthday, because that tends to be what brings me to cities is friends rather than work. And I auditioned for this film. Now it was from the creators of like, He's Just Not That Into You. So like my movie nights, you know, these writers are phenomenal. And I walked in. Comedy is not my strength, which
really?
The fact that I have,
I feel like Australians.
Yeah, that would really surprise me.
All Australians to me are so witty that I feel you guys have a humor advantage to the rest of the world.
Yeah, but sometimes I feel like the wit is more English.
dry. Like I think
dry
you don't know you're being funny when you're being funny.
But to Americans, it's funny.
Well, hopefully.
Is it?
Hopefully.
I feel like Americans like slapstick humor a little bit more. Like humor almost has to be like really like shoved in your face for Americans to like really like it. And this is a blanket statement. This is not, you know what I mean? Whereas I feel like sometimes the Australian wit doesn't really
translate. I think that
Americans
love slapstick American humor, but I think that you guys have such an intelligence to like Seinfeld. It's like this dry wit Where it's like, if you get it, it's so funny.
Honestly, I mean, look, I come from a very funny family, so maybe my bar for funny is just way higher than it should be. But I just don't think, like to work with someone like Amy Schumer, what a dream.
The scene was great.
What a dream.
I don't remember that scene, and I watched it, and I was like, "That's a good scene."
Right.
Do you know that whole crew? It was an amazing experience. But I think the one thing that stood out more so for me on that shoot was shooting in New York is not easy.
No.
You know, permitting one side of the street and not the other side of the street because obviously traffic and pedestrians still need access. Like the logistics of that shoot was insane.
Where was it?
Right on Bryant Park.
Okay.
Was the day that I was there.
Bryant Park, that's busy. That's 42nd Street.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I just remember thinking like, wow, this takes a village of people like not getting anything wrong to be able to put up a film like this.
With one thing to go right.
Exactly.
Yeah. When we were driving past Tribeca the other day, and there was like 40 fucking trucks, and it was all
Yeah,
the
our
way
friend
around.
has the apartment right across the fire department, the Ghostbusters fire department.
Oh, amazing.
So they film like monthly there, and it's just like his whole block is shut down. Speaking of actors and actresses, I want to ask both of you, what do you guys think about the Keith Urban, Nicole Kidman situation?
If I'm being brutally honest,
Don't know anything about it.
don't care.
No, come on.
It's truly and utterly,
What do you mean you don't care?
I don't care.
Why? What do you mean?
Because I don't know
It doesn't
them.
impact your life, but
It doesn't impact my life in any way, shape, or form. I'm sad, I suppose, from a humanity level, if two people that were once in love are no longer in love, and I hope that they can go their respective ways and be happy. But like, you know how many fucking people have been like, oh my God, are you devastated? I'm like, about what? Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. I'm like, I don't know them. They're not my
So
friends.
I think
They're
this
not
is
my
really
friends.
funny because I think people are getting divorced. I'm gonna go here for a second. I was at the promenade in Brooklyn just looking at Manhattan, and in every single window of every single building you see, something is going on with someone's life, right?
Oh.
So like someone's laughing, someone's crying, someone's getting divorced, someone's having sex, someone's dying, and all of a sudden your perspective of the world, like you're like, oh, I'm an ant. Like I really don't matter.
So
Insignificant. And so for me, when things like that happen, I laugh because I'm like, so many people get divorced every single day. And yet when it's Nicole Kidman, it's, headlines all over the globe. And what I find brilliant about that is like, oh, you really sign up for that life. Like, especially as an actor, I go, oh, wow, that's really the trajectory that you have to be okay with. If you are in full pursuit of this industry and this career, it's like your dirty laundry will be aired. Mm-hmm. And so I always think like when I see things like that, I'm like, am I still want it?
Yeah,
like
that
still,
really, that really
is hard.
scares me.
Yeah.
That would really like, even being a model, I was like, oh, I don't know how I feel about like, I could never imagine being on a certain level where like every single thing that you do is scrutinized.
Yep.
Like when you walk out of the house and you're having a bad day or a bad hair day, God forbid. And then people are like, oh my God, she's deranged. She's lost her mind. Like just like the narrative that people can spin about you and that could almost inform the way in which you view yourself scares me.
But why is it always with celebrities that they never just get divorced? It's someone's always like cheating or like, why could they just never be like, we're getting divorced?
But let's look at divorce as a whole, right? Like why do people get divorced? Is it majority that someone has done something nefarious? Is it because people just fall out of love? Like, I wonder what the statistics are on actual divorce versus just celebrity divorce. And to Chloe's point, like everything is hyperbolized, like everything is blown up. It's massive.
Yeah, for me, it would bother the shit out of me. Like, remember when Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez broke up? Whatever.
Vaguely, yeah.
And then you go all over LA and there's Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. And I was like, man, if I was Alex Rodriguez, I would just be so annoyed that my ex-wife that I just broke up with, if I care, is now on a billboard with her new husband everywhere. Like that would drive me absolutely nuts. And like Katy Perry, she now goes from whoever she was with to Justin Trudeau. And it's like seeing
how many tabloids are you reading?
First and foremost, wait. That question. But then also, Justin Trudeau, isn't he the Canadian Prime Minister?
Yeah.
They're dating?
I think so.
No.
Yeah.
You're lying.
No, and actually, you know what? I don't know why I know so much about this.
I was
Yeah,
going
why
to
do
say,
you know so much about
I don't know whether I'm concerned or impressed.
I'm not really in that world.
Like you read a lot of news. I didn't realize you were reading like pop culture news.
I've been reading so much. So I don't do Instagram, but I read so.
Wait, Be honest. That's a lie.
Okay, I'm gonna pull up my minutes on Instagram per
Do
day
it.
while I continue this conversation.
I'm so glad you're doing this and I'm not, because my minutes are shocking.
Okay,
Shocking.
while I pull it up.
Anyway, it's going to be
The silence.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Instagram. Okay, my average for the week is 1 hour a day. 1 hour 24 minutes a day.
That's pretty.
That is
That's
really
not
good.
a lot.
That's really good.
That's
That's really low.
But it's low, but it's not nothing. Like you're
Okay,
on
so
there.
I consume my news 4 hours 2 minutes.
What did
but
I say?
I feel like that's also
Yeah.
damaging.
The news?
Well, yeah, I would say so.
I would say this. Here's my perspective on the news. Watching the news and commentary on people's opinions, terrible. Would never do that. Reading what goes on in the world, I love that. So like I could take it with a grain of salt. I'm just reading what's happening and being okay.
Yeah.
I know what's going on.
As long as you're not disabled by the things that are happening,
Yes.
Because I think if you're wearing the weight of the world on the news,
No, I'm very objective to the world and opinions and like stay in my lane, and I am very happy. Like
I love that this has turned into like a therapy.
So like here, I'll read an
often
article.
does.
Wait, so I'll read an article, and then at the bottom, it's all these other articles. So maybe I got into one about Keith Urban and Nicole Kidman.
Here's what
and
they-
then
when
it
is-
spiraled into Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau, and I'm always reading about Taylor Swift. So maybe I was on.
But I will give him the absolute benefit of the doubt. The fact that
he also parents,
is-
right?
he also parents.
Yeah,
yes.
okay, great.
He also parents, but he's also like you could ask Joe about like a plethora of different subjects, particularly like geopolitics or like the economy or all these kind of things, and he has like the answers because he does read. So he almost
Well, I don't have the answers. I just could speak
you
to
can
my
speak
opinion.
to it, which like a lot of things I can't. So I find it very fascinating. But yeah, I'm so surprised that you know so much about pop culture. You know that there's a new Jeopardy called Pop Culture Jeopardy.
Really
Just so everybody knows.
interesting.
Colin Jost hosts it. I haven't seen it yet, but I fucking
Okay, well,
love
another
Jeopardy.
article that I was reading about, kind of a good segue. Have you heard about Lily Norwood? Mm-hmm. What do you think about Lily
Yeah,
Norwood?
what are your thoughts as a
Someone who's
actress?
like, she's infringing on you. She,
I
can I
think-
call her a she?
Let me say, I think the conversation was inevitable. So I'm not necessarily surprised that we're here having that chat. Not literally on this podcast, but I just mean in society. I think it was only a matter of time. I think it is going to be a really interesting turn of events as to what, the things that we are putting in place to protect artists, actors, writers, directors, you name it, our image. I recently did a film where they had to do a 3D body scan of my entire image because I was getting a lot of prosthetics done. And my question was, well, where does that 3D body scan go? Who gets to use that?
Yeah.
Am I protected? And obviously I have an amazing team, so they looked straight into that for me. But I did the 3D body scan not even thinking twice because obviously like it's a job, I get the job and I show up and do it. And then all of a sudden I thought, well, hold on a second, I need to protect my image. And so luckily I think, I'm trusting my teams and the people that are in place for my career to lead me through this next chapter. And I think we do have to put the trust in those teams because at the end of the day, they have more information than we do. And things like the unions and whatnot, they're doing everything they can, I think, at the end of the day to protect the industry. But it's, it's sort of like, it's not just our industry, it's across the board of a multitude of really the world, and how this next phase and the integration of AI and technology and how we sort of all navigate that, I think.
I completely agree. And I was talking to Hannah about this last night. So I watch sports a lot. I don't know how I do it all. I do pop culture, I entrepreneur, I watch sports. I'm fucking impressive.
Multifaceted.
So I was watching sports last night and I was like, let me tell you something about baseball. And she's like, I don't want to hear it. I was like, no, it's interesting. So in baseball, in the last 10 years, they've gone super into analytics. So they pretty much coach and play with numbers. They don't really care about the guy and what could happen. But it's being overcorrected because all those analytics say to coach a certain way and it's not working. And now the people who are coaching with emotion and feeling are winning. And that's kind of what I see in movies and music and people. It's like, yeah, we're going to need AI and we're going to need to adapt with all of these things. But I think human beings are going to relate to real things and imperfections and gut feeling and similarities.
Yeah.
And the more you use things like Lily Norwood and AI, you're going to have a huge block up in the people who are watching that, which is a human being. And I think the whole world is going to correct itself.
It's a little bit like, I don't think you can teach instinct. Like I think if you were to take, and like I could be wrong, I'm no expert on any of this, right? Like I'm just sort of speaking from my own idea of it, but it's like I don't think you can teach instinct. So in my mind, I don't think you could also program instinct. Now, I could be completely wrong, and all of a sudden I could be having a conversation with AI that, is instinctual. But I just don't know if the nuances would exist the same way that it does in human-human connection.
No, it's the nuances. It's the nuances that really come down to it.
So have you seen the Friend app?
I don't think I have.
Okay, so
please tell me
check
about
it out. But it's literally this device that's your friend, and it literally adapts to everything that you do, kind of what you're saying too. So it does adapt. My problem with that is you could be talking to your friend who's this little computer about a parent dying, and this friend is going to say all the right things, but that little computer's parent didn't die, and they're not relating to what you actually went through, and it's all a lie. So they're going to be there to give you words of comfort, but it's all a lie. It's just kind of
It's like textbook
curated.
learning. Like, yeah.
It's very interesting. My loves, we could
that
talk.
it?
We could literally talk for hours upon hours.
I
has
don't
gone
wanna be
by-
done.
I know. It's gone by so quickly.
Do you have any last questions?
I mean, I have a million questions, but I feel like with all the guests that we love so much, we just need to have a part 2. We need to bring you
Okay.
back on,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
Like I said, I could just talk to you for hours. And I'm so glad. I love the universe. I love the way in which.
Can I say, like, this expat life that we lead, like, leads us here to these conversations. And in my mind, I'm like, I do feel sad for people that don't get to have this, where you literally meet people because you've said hi in New York at a random cafe, and now you're having a massive, beautiful chat about life, and life as we know it, life as we don't know it, and we're sitting here like connecting. I'm like,
It's
how
cool,
great
right?
is
What a
this?
privilege.
And you said
Yeah.
something earlier about like what defines success, and I was thinking about it when you said it, because to me, I used to think financial as well, but now it's like I have the freedom to do what I want every day, and I think as an actress, you have the same thing. It's like we might not be making the money that we want to, and we hope to make more money, but like every day we're coming here because we chose to, and it's our thing. It's hard,
Yeah.
but we're actually leading our own lives, which is super cool, and I think we're all
that's-
successful.
To be honest, it's something I value the most about my life is autonomy.
Freedom.
Having autonomy for me really matters. And in whatever pursuit I have or whatever job I'm doing, and trust me, I have many of them, there's just one thing that I know I can't live without, and that's my own autonomy.
Love that.
My darling, would you like to do the outro?
Yes, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe. It helps us go a long way. Check out one of our past episodes, and we'll see you next time. Happy connecting.